My name is Barbara Goldfinch, and I'm part of the Friends of the Warburton Rail Trail, Lilydale. Well, it started towards the end of 2019, and then COVID hit, so we didn't get much done for a year or so, but that gave me time to get some more volunteers, and we've been an active group ever since. Most of this was planted and most of it had been inundated with weeds, and so I started clearing the weeds here, and it grew from there. Of course, since then we've also, with council help and support, supplying tools and supplying plants, we've now planted in other areas. We meet monthly on the third Saturday of the month for a couple of hours. We weed, we plant, and that's always an exciting time, is planting. We spread mulch. We do some pruning of some of the bigger shrubs. It was an old railway line, it's now a rail trail for walkers, cyclists, mothers with pushers, dads with prams, dogs, walkers. From Lilydale station, well actually it starts at the Beresford Road crossing, goes through to Warburton, a distance of about 38 kilometres, and it's a fantastic resource. The habitat in that 38 kilometres is quite varied. We determined that we could only manage from the footbridge over Moondah Highway in Lilydale going through to Old Gippsland Road, a distance of about a kilometre. We have various sites within that kilometre that we work on.
I'm Lee Alchemaid, and this is my mum.
I'm Julia Herring.
We used to live just on the other side of the trail, and my mum lives on this side of the trail, and she knows Barbara. And it was a sort of a COVID thing, and Barbara sort of looked to find some local people and neighbours to see if they wanted to help this group keep this area lovely.
We walk here all the time, so for 40 years, and yeah, so we like to keep this place nice.
I now know the difference between most of the weeds and what a native plant is to this area. Yeah, it's interesting to know these aren't actually native, but they just look quite pretty, and what the difference of the grasses are, the kangaroo grass, and then what are weeds like these guys. It sounds strange, but I think it's a bit of a no-brainer when you live in an area, use an area. What's an hour and a half in a month to be with the local community and help keep an area that we use to walk our dog like looking nice, and you feel good afterwards. You know, you've spent some time with some people, and we sometimes have a coffee afterwards, and it's just a nice way to get the weekend started.
Well, I just like volunteering.
Yeah, that is true. Barbara's always pointing out certain bird noises, and then we wait and we have a look up into the trees, sort of get to notice, yeah, what sound and then what bird you're looking for.
Flora, I have documented 47 species, but I know there's a lot more that I haven't. Those 47 just represent what we've planted. Birds, I can regularly count about 20 bird species, and then there's other species that come and go. And in fact, last Saturday when we were working up the Old Gippsland Road end, we heard and saw a male gang cockatoo. I was very excited to see an area of Thermedia, kangaroo grass, to us lay people, and we have done some more planting in that area, and looking, there's just swathes of it, but looking through it there's also quite a few interesting wildflowers there. Rice flower, bovine lilies, early Nancy's, and there's also been some orchids up there, and we've supplemented that with some plantings of grasses. It's exciting to have those areas of native grasses. Definitely open to new members. We have a Facebook page, and I do a monthly newsletter, and every time we're working and people walk past, I always invite them to join us. Most of the members know each other. George and I are fairly new to the area, so it's good to make those connections. Being out in the fresh air amongst the trees, it's a healthy activity. I also understand that gardening is good for your mental health. That has to be a plus.
Yeah, I'm Jen and I live locally and work on the trail with the friends here. A mutual friend, and she introduced me to Barbara, and since then I've been coming once a month to help out as much as I can. I've lived in the area close by this trail and used the trail for 40 years, and when I retired I'm very glad to be putting back to this trail and actually feel a lot more engaged with the trail by being a volunteer. We get our heads together and work out the plants and use our various apps to identify what's a weed and what's not, and we just endeavour to look after the indigenous species of this area, and it's a really lovely group, and feel much more connected to this trail even after 40 years.
One of the reasons that I got involved with this is because I passionately believe in supporting our native vegetation and our native animals. It's important that we plant local vegetation to help maintain the purity of species, and of course the flora that lived in this area is adapted to the soils and the climate, and also the animals and birds that are native to this area depend on those species particularly. So it's important to plant local indigenous plants.